The Grand Hall of the United Galactic Senate was full. Leaders from every system had gathered for the annual Unity broadcast. The ceiling above them showed a giant hologram of the galaxy. Stars slowly moved across it, reminding everyone how big their universe was. Delegates wore bright robes, showing the colors of their worlds. The air was heavy with formality and pride. On a raised platform in the center stood Chancellor Luther Vex of the Orion system. He wore long black and silver robes. His eyes were sharp, and his face held a cold smile. He had ruled Orion for over 30 years. Many feared him. Some respected him. Few dared to challenge him. Today, the Chancellor was set to speak to all systems. Billions of people across the galaxy were watching. He stood tall as the Senate fell silent. The hologram above him shifted, showing different worlds in the Senate. When Earth's image appeared, many in the hall barely reacted. Earth was often ignored in these meetings. Chancellor Vex cleared his throat. His voice echoed through the hall and across the galaxy. Brothers and sisters of the galaxy, Vex began smoothly. We gather here once again to keep peace and unity, to remind each system of its place. He paused, looking around the room. His eyes narrowed as they settled on the Earth delegation. Earth's ambassador, an older man named Victor Kane, sat quietly with his small team. He wore a simple blue suit, very different from the bright robes of other leaders. Vex leaned forward, his voice sharper now. "And what of Earth?" he said, raising his hand toward their image. A small, green rock on the edge of the stars. A world of farmers, miners, and dreamers who still cling to old hopes. Some of the crowd chuckled. A few laughed openly. Victor Kane shifted in his seat, but said nothing. His face turned pale, but his eyes stayed firm. Vex wasn't finished. "They send us their ambassadors," Vex continued, his smile growing colder. "They ask for a greater voice in this Senate. But tell me, what power does Earth bring? What strength do they hold?" "None." The laughter grew louder. Across the galaxy, screens broadcast Vex's words. Billions watched as Earth was mocked in front of all. Vex raised both hands as if giving a gift. His voice boomed. "Earth is a child playing among giants." The hall filled with noise. Delegates from many systems nodded or smiled, but others stayed silent, shifting uncomfortably. They knew Earth had grown quietly stronger over the years, but none spoke up for them. Victor Kane stood slowly. His voice did not reach the whole hall, but the Chancellor heard him. "We will remember this day." "Chancellor," Kane said softly. Vex gave a small nod, like a king humoring a servant. Then he turned his back to Earth's delegation and continued the rest of his speech, ignoring them completely. The broadcast ended an hour later. Across Earth, people watched in silence. On the streets of New London, in the towers of Neo Tokyo, in the deserts of New Africa, people felt the same cold anger. Earth had been laughed at again, but this time it felt different. In the High Council room beneath Earth's surface, leaders gathered in secret. The room was quiet until General Clara Reed, head of Earth's Defense Command, spoke. "He has gone too far," she said firmly. The council nodded in agreement. The decision was made that night. Earth would answer, and the one chosen to lead that answer was Commander Alex Voss. The Black Towers of Earth Defense Command stood high above the Atlantic Ocean. The towers had no windows. No ships flew near them. From the outside, they looked silent and lifeless. But inside, they were alive with plans. Plans that had been hidden for decades. In a room deep underground, the council waited. They sat around a wide table made of black steel. On the wall behind them, the symbol of Earth glowed in white light. A single circle with 3 lines crossing it. The mark of unity, strength, and survival. The door opened. Commander Alex Voss stepped inside. Alex was 35 years old. His short dark hair was neatly combed. His face was calm but serious. His black uniform carried no medals, only a single silver line on the chest, the mark of a fleet commander. He stood tall, waiting for someone to speak. General Clara Reed rose from her seat. Her voice was low and steady. "Commander Voss, thank you for coming." Alex gave a small nod. He already knew this was not a simple meeting. He could feel the weight in the air. The council never met at this hour unless the matter was serious. General Reed spoke again. You saw the broadcast? I did, Alex replied. And what do you think? Alex paused for a moment before he spoke. I think Earth has been patient long enough. The council members exchanged glances. Some nodded. General Reed stepped closer. We agree. The Chancellor's words were more than an insult. They were a challenge. If we do nothing, the rest of the galaxy will continue to see us as weak. She pressed a button on the table. A small hologram appeared above it. It showed the Orion system, 12 planets from military stations, and the heart of it all, Orion Prime. Around the system, a thick ring of defense satellites glowed red. This is Orion's shield, General Reed explained. It blocks any fleet from getting close to Orion Prime. That shield is the reason the Chancellor feels safe. Alex watched the hologram carefully. He knew this system well. Every commander in Earth's fleet had studied it. Breaking through it had always seemed impossible. Until now, General Reed continued. We have developed a new weapon, the Ghost Drive. It hides our ships from enemy sensors. It's not perfect, but it can get us close enough to strike. The room grew quiet. Alex looked at the general. You want me to attack Orion? He asked. Yes, she answered. You will lead the Black Star Fleet. You will destroy their shield. You will bring the Chancellor to his knees. Alex stayed silent for a moment. This was not just a mission. It was a risk that could start a war. A war Earth might not survive. What is the goal? He asked finally. Revenge. General Reed shook her head. Not revenge. Respect. We want the Chancellor to answer for what he did. We want the galaxy to see that Earth is not weak. But we will not destroy innocent lives. We are not like him. Alex nodded slowly. This was the way he believed in. Fight with control, not hate. What happens if we fail? He asked. The councilman sitting beside the general spoke for the first time. Then Earth falls, the man said quietly, and no one will ever stand with us again. Alex took a deep breath. He knew the risk, but he also knew this was the moment Earth had waited for. He stood straight and placed his hand on the table. Give me the fleet, he said. We will bring the Chancellor to answer. General Reed nodded. She reached in her coat and handed him a small black chip. Your orders are here. Destroy the shield. Force the surrender. And Commander, she paused, looking him in the eye. Bring our people hope. Alex took the chip and turned to leave. As he walked through the halls of the defense towers, soldiers stood aside to let him pass. They knew who he was. They knew what was coming. Hours later, Alex stood on the bridge of the Black Star, the lead ship of the fleet. Before him, 10 more ships stood ready, hidden in the dark side of Earth's moon. Each ship carried a crew trained for this moment. Each ship was armed with weapons never used in open battle. Alex looked at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there, the Chancellor sat in his palace, laughing at Earth. Alex clenched his fist. Not for long. The Black Star Fleet waited in silence behind the dark side of Earth's moon. From the outside, the ships looked like shadows floating in space. But inside, they were alive with quiet work. Engineers checked systems. Pilots ran flight tests. Soldiers cleaned their weapons and waited for the order to move. Commander Alex Voss stood on the command deck of the Black Star, staring at the stars. His officers stood around him. Each one waited for his words. Alex turned to face them. You have all heard the mission, he said, his voice steady. We're going to Orion. We will disable their defense shield. We will bring the Chancellor to answer for his insult. No one spoke, but every face showed the same thought. This mission could change everything. It could make Earth a power, or it could destroy them all. Alex pressed a button on the table. A large map of the Orion system appeared in the air. Red lines showed patrol routes. Blue dots marked defense stations. And around Orion Prime, the glowing red shield stood like a wall. This shield is made of linked satellites, Alex explained. If we can take out 3 of the main control stations, the whole shield will fall. He pointed to 3 points on the map, each marked with a small white circle. These are our targets, he said. Alpha Station, Beta Station, and Delta Station. They're spread far apart. We will have to hit them at the same time. His officers leaned closer, studying the map. The plan was risky, but it was the only way. We will split into 3 groups, Alex continued. I will lead the strike on Alpha. Captain Run will lead Beta. Captain Ortega will lead Delta. The two captains nodded firmly. Alex looked around the room. We have one advantage, he said. The ghost drive. It will hide us until we attack. But once we fire, the enemy will see us. After that, we have minutes before their fleet comes for us. The officers nodded again. They knew what they had signed up for. Alex ended the map and leaned on the table with both hands. This mission is not about pride. It is not about revenge. It is about showing the galaxy that Earth will not be laughed at. We will fight with control. We will not strike cities. We will not harm the innocent. We are soldiers, not murderers. His voice grew firm. Do your job. Protect your crew. And no matter what happens, remember, we do this for Earth. The officers stood in silence for a moment. Then they raised their hands to their chests and spoke together. For Earth. Alex nodded, proud of his team. Hours passed as the crews prepared the ships. Engineers locked the ghost drives in place. Pilots ran the last checks. Soldiers loaded weapons onto shuttles. Alex walked through the ship, speaking to the crew. He stopped at the engine room, where Chief Engineer Mara Jean worked with her team. Are we ready? He asked. Mara wiped her hands on her suit and nodded. The ghost drive is stable. It'll hide us as long as we keep power low. But once we attack, we'll light up like a star. Alex thanked her and moved on. In the weapons bay, he spoke to Lieutenant Cade Rook, his lead weapons officer. Cade, we hit only the stations. No more. Cade gave a short nod. Understood, Commander. Later, Alex stood alone in his quarters. He looked at a small screen showing Earth. The blue and green planet hung in space, peaceful and quiet. He thought of people back home, the families, the workers, the children. They were the reason he was here. A soft beep came from the door. It opened, and Captain Rin stepped in. We're ready to move, she said. Alex turned, took one last look at Earth, and nodded. Let's begin. The fleet engines came to life in silence. The ghost drives wrapped each ship in a black field that bent light and blocked sensors. One by one, the ships turned toward the stars. Alex stood on the bridge as the black star began to move. The stars ahead seemed to shift as they entered deep space. Behind them, Earth slowly faded from view. The mission had begun. There was no turning back now. The Black Star fleet moved through the darkness like ghosts. Wrapped in the power of the ghost drive, the ships made no sound. No enemy sensors picked them up. No alarms were raised. They were invisible for now. Commander Alex Vaz stood on the bridge of the lead ship. He kept his eyes on the screen in front of him. The Orion system was still far ahead, but they were getting closer with every passing hour. Captain Rin stood to his left. She checked the map again and spoke quietly. 4 hours until we reach the outer edge of Orion space. Alex nodded. Keep all systems cold. No extra power. No signals. Yes, Commander, Rin replied. The fleet moved slowly, but every crew member knew speed was not their friend right now. Staying hidden was their only chance. If Orion sensors caught them too early, they wouldn't even reach the target. Alex turned to Lieutenant Cade Rook. Any sign of enemy patrols? Cade checked the scanner. None so far, Commander. The ghost drive is holding. Alex knew they couldn't trust it for long. The ghost drive was new technology. It had never been tested in real battle. Every second they used it felt like a gamble. The hours passed slowly. The crew worked in silence. No one spoke unless they had to. The air felt heavy with tension. Finally, the warning light blinked on the screen. They had reached the edge of Orion space. The fleet slowed to a stop. Alex stood straight and gave the next order. Launch the probes. Small black probes shot out from ships. They were also hidden by the ghost drive. The probes moved ahead, scanning for enemy patrols and traps. The first minutes passed with nothing but static on the screen. Then, one by one, the probes sent back their reports. Cade spoke again. 2 patrol ships on the edge of Sector 7. No other ships in range. Alex leaned over the map. Sector 7 is the gap between Beta and Delta stations, he said. He looked at Captain Run and Captain Ortega. You will have to go around them. It will slow you down. We can handle it, Rin replied without fear. Ortega nodded in agreement. Alex gave the order. Move to your positions. We strike together. The fleet split into 3 groups. Alex took the Black Star toward Alpha Station. Captain Ren led her ships toward Beta. Captain Ortega moved toward Delta. The map showed the three groups spreading out like black arrows. Alex watched the time tick down. Every second felt longer than the last. He knew the hardest part was still ahead. Hours later, the Black Star approached Alpha Station. The station floated in space like a giant steel ring. It was covered in turrets and shield panels. Small patrol ships circled it, but none of them saw the Black Star coming. Alex stood on the bridge, his jaw tight. "Status?" he asked. Kate replied at once. "The station hasn't seen us. Patrols are keeping close to the ring." Alex checked the timer on the screen. 2 minutes until Ren and Ortega reached their targets. He opened a secure channel to both captains. "We strike together." "On my mark." Both captains confirmed. Alex turned to his crew. "This is it. Drop the cloak and fire all weapons on my command." His crew locked in their targets. The Black Star's cannons glowed softly, building power. The tension on the bridge felt like a wave about to break. 30 seconds left. Alex watched the countdown. 20 seconds. He could feel his heart pounding, but his face stayed calm. 10 seconds. The map showed all three strike teams in place. 5 seconds. Alex raised his hand. "Stand by." The timer hit 0. Alex dropped his hand like a hammer. "Fire." The Black Star roared to life. Bright energy blasts shot across the darkness and slammed into Alpha Station. The cloak dropped at the same moment, making the ship fully visible. On the other side of the system, Captain Ren and Captain Ortega fired their own weapons. Explosions lit up Beta and Delta stations at the same time. Alarms filled the air. The surprise attack had begun. Orion's fleet would be on them soon. Alex gripped the edge of the command table. "Stay sharp," he ordered. "We finish what we started." Alpha Station shook with the force of the first strike. Fire and smoke poured from its defense turrets. Small Orion patrol ships scrambled to respond, but they were too slow. The Black Star kept firing, tearing into the station's power core. Commander Alex Voss stood on the bridge, his voice clear and calm. "Focus fire on the power grid. Take it down before they regroup." The Black Star's crew worked fast. Energy blasts slammed into the station again and again. Explosions broke across its surface like waves crashing on rock. The enemy started to fight back. 2 Orion battle cruisers turned toward the Black Star, their engines burning bright. Cade Rook called out from the weapons station. "Enemy ships closing in. 2 minutes until they reach firing range." Alex nodded. "Keep firing on the station. We finish the shield first." The Black Star took another shot at the station's control core. Sparks and fire burst into space. Then, the station's lights flickered and died. Cade checked his screen. "Alpha Station is down. Shield link broken." Alex didn't waste a second. "Move us out. We'll draw the cruisers away from Run and Ortega." Meanwhile, at Beta Station, Captain Ren's ships were locked in heavy fire. The enemy was awake now. More Orion ships rushed toward her position. Ren stood on her bridge, shouting orders. "Stay in formation. Focus on the shield control." Her fleet moved like one sharp blade. They circled the station, firing with perfect timing. The station's defense guns tried to track them, but the Black Star fleet was faster. Finally, the station's shield core exploded, sending pieces spinning into the void. Ren gave the order. "Fall back to regroup." At Delta Station, Captain Ortega faced the hardest fight. His ships were pinned by 3 Orion destroyers. Blasts shook the hull of his lead ship. Sparks rained down from the ceiling. But Ortega didn't flinch. "Target the weak spot in the station's lower ring," he ordered. His crew turned the ship sharply. They flew low under the station, dodging enemy fire. Cade's voice came through the comm link. "Commander Ortega, Alpha and Beta are down. We're moving to support you." "Ortega Smail Taitli." "Not yet. I've got this." He gave the final order. "All weapons, fire now." Every ship in his group opened fire at once. Their blasts hit the station's lower core. A massive explosion followed, breaking the station in two. The shield around Orion Prime flickered, then died. Across the entire system, the great defense shield was gone. On the Black Star, Cade shouted the news. "All 3 stations destroyed. The shield is down. Alex felt the weight of that moment. They had done it, but the battle wasn't over yet. More enemy ships jumped in from deep space. Dozens of them. Orion's full fleet had arrived. Cade turned, his face tight with fear. "Commander, their fleet is closing in. We're outnumbered 20-1. Alex looked at the map. His ships were spread out and surrounded. If they stayed, they would be crushed. He opened a secure channel to all fleet captains. "This is Commander Voss. The shield is down. Mission complete. Pull back to Rally Point Sigma." Ren's voice replied first. "Copy that. Moving now." Ortega followed. "Understood. We're on our way." Alex gave the next order. "Prepare jump drive. Get us out of here." The enemy fleet chased them hard. Blasts shook the Black Star as they pulled away. One of their smaller ships took a direct hit and exploded. Alex closed his eyes for half a second, then pushed forward. He couldn't stop now. The Black Star's engines roared as they raced toward the jump point. Cade called out again. "Jump drive ready." Alex raised his hand. "All ships, jump now." In a flash of light, the Black Star fleet disappeared into the darkness. Minutes later, they reappeared far outside Orion space. The fleet had escaped, damaged, tired but alive. On the bridge, the crew let out a breath they had all been holding. But Alex knew the real mission was not finished yet. He turned to his officers. "We've broken their shield. Now we go to Orion Prime." He knew the Chancellor was waiting, and this time there would be no escape. The Black Star fleet stood in orbit above Orion Prime. The planet below was bright with city lights. It looked peaceful from space, but Alex Voss knew the truth. The cities were in panic. The Chancellor's forces had fallen silent. Commander Alex Voss stood at the wide window of the Black Star's command deck. Behind him, the crew waited. No one spoke. They knew this was the moment everything had led to. Alex turned to Captain Run and Captain Ortega, who stood by his side. "We've hit their shield. We've broken their defense. Now, we face the Chancellor." Hey, nodded. "Do we strike the planet?" Alex shook his head. "No, this is not about destroying Orion. This is about forcing the Chancellor to answer." Ortega crossed his arms. "And if he refuses?" Alex looked at them both. "Then we remind him we hold the sky." Minutes later, Alex stood inside a small shuttle, preparing to land on Orion Prime. The fleet would stay in orbit, watching, ready to strike if needed. The shuttle entered the planet's atmosphere. Fires burned across the outer districts. Sirens echoed in the air. People ran through the streets, looking up at the dark shapes of Earth's ships hanging in the sky like shadows of death. The shuttle landed in the heart of Orion Prime. Alex stepped out, followed by two of his guards. The Chancellor's palace stood ahead, tall and cold, with black towers reaching into the sky. No guards came to stop them. The Chancellor had no more defense left. Alex walked through the empty courtyard, past broken statues and burning banners. He reached the palace gates. They opened without a word. Inside the grand hall, Chancellor Luthervex waited. He stood alone at the top of the long stairway. His face was pale. His hands trembled slightly, but his voice was still sharp. "So," Vex said, "Earth finally shows its teeth." Alex walked forward, step by step, until he stood at the foot of the stairway. "You insulted my people," Alex said, his voice steady. "You called us nothing. You made the galaxy laugh at us." Vex gave a weak smile. "You have made your point, Commander. You've broken my shield. What do you want now? My throne? My life?" Alex shook his head. "We want your words. The same way you used them to humiliate us, you will use them to correct your mistake. You will tell the galaxy what you have done. You will tell them Earth is not weak." Vex's face tightened. "You think I will bow to you? To a miner's world?" Alex raised his hand. "I don't think. I know." He pressed a button on his wrist. A live channel opened. Every system, every planet, every city in the galaxy could now see and hear the Chancellor. The image of the broken palace filled every screen. Vex's face appeared for all to watch. Alex spoke again. "Say it. Now." Vex stood frozen for a long moment. Then, with his head low, his voice weak, he spoke. "I was wrong about Earth." He swallowed hard and continued. "Earth is not weak. Earth has earned its place among us." Across the galaxy, people watched in silence. Alex ended the broadcast. He took one step closer to the broken ruler. Remember this day, Chancellor. Words have power. You forgot that. Alex turned and walked away. He did not take the Chancellor's life. He had already taken something greater, his pride and his power. The shuttle lifted off and returned to the Black Star. The fleet turned away from Orion Prime and prepared for the journey home. On the bridge, the crew stood as Alex entered. No one cheered. No one shouted. They simply stood together in quiet respect. Alex spoke softly. Set course for Earth. Let's go home. The stars shifted on the screen as the fleet moved into the dark once again. The mission was done. The Chancellor had answered. Earth had risen. The Black Star fleet returned home to a waiting world. Across Earth, people stood in streets, in towers, in fields, watching the sky. When the ships entered orbit, a wave of quiet spread across the planet. No music played. No banners guav. The people knew this victory was not a celebration. It was a warning to the galaxy and a promise to their own. Commander Alex Voss stood at the window of the Black Star. His hands were behind his back. His face showed no pride, only a calm knowing that they had done what needed to be done. Captain Wren stepped forward. Commander, the Council is ready to receive you. Alex nodded. Prepare the shuttle. Later that day, Alex entered the Earth Defense Council chamber. The same leaders who had sent him on this mission now stood to greet him. General Clara Reed stood at the front, her face unreadable. Alex stopped and waited. General Reed spoke first. You have completed your mission, Commander. Orion's shield is gone. The Chancellor has spoken to the galaxy. Alex kept his voice calm. He spoke because we left him no choice. General Reed nodded slowly, and the galaxy heard him. She paused, then added, Today, Earth holds power it has never known. You have changed our place in the stars. Alex shook his head slightly. I did not do it alone. The fleet stood with me. The people stood with us. General Reed stepped closer. And now the question remains. What do we do with this power? The room grew quiet. The weight of the future hung in the air. Alex raised his eyes and spoke softly but clearly. We defend it. We respect it. And we never become what we just defeated. The council members looked at one another, then nodded in agreement. General Reed gave the final word. Then you have done more than complete your mission, Commander. You have given Earth a new future. Over the next days, news spread across every system. Some feared Earth's rise. Some welcomed it. But none dared to speak of Earth as weak again. On Orion Prime, Chancellor Luther Vex remained silent in his palace. His power broken, his pride crushed. He knew the galaxy had changed. And far away on Earth, in the quiet hills outside New London, Alex Voss stood alone, looking up at the night sky. He knew peace would not last forever. Power always brought new challenges. But for now, Earth stood stronger than ever before. And this time, the galaxy would remember. Alex took a long breath. He knew his duty was far from over. But in that moment, standing under the stars, he allowed himself a small, quiet smile. Earth had risen, and no one would ever laugh again.